Hey guys, it's Josh here. And in today's video, I'm going to explain how belief changing can help you overcome your anxiety. Now, one of the first things that you have to understand is that anxiety is not just a mental health problem. It's a mind and body issue, right? And so it needs a mind and body solution, okay? Now, your thoughts directly impact your body through what's known as neurotransmitters. So your thoughts create these neurotransmitters which send electrochemical signals to your body through your nervous system. So if you keep having negative thoughts or anxious thoughts of what if, what if I never get better? What if I'm going to be like this forever? When will this end? Will I be like this forever? Is there something wrong with me? Right? You have those thoughts in your head. They create specific chemicals and hormones that get sent to your body through these neurotransmitters, right? And so if you're thinking really anxious thoughts, for example, it's going to create these anxious chemicals in your body, the adrenaline, the cortisol. So for example, if you have a fearful thought, it's going to send cortisol and adrenaline straight to your body. And your body's going to have this fearful response. You're going to start to feel scared. So your thoughts directly impact your body, okay? And your beliefs directly impact the experiences that you have in your body. So for example, one analogy or metaphor I like to give is about Robert Irwin, right? Having this belief that snakes are, not dangerous. He thinks, he has a belief that says he knows how to manage snakes. And his belief is also backed up by a lifetime of experience. And I'll get to that in a second as well. But that lifetime of experience has created a belief that says, I can handle snakes. And so he's not scared of snakes. And so when he goes around snakes, he doesn't have these stress chemicals entering into his body like I would, for example. If I went around snakes, I would be freaking out. I'd be going, what the fuck, there's a snake there. And I'd be getting a bit scared probably. And my thoughts would be like, what am I going to do? How do I make sure this snake doesn't bite me, right? Whereas Robert Irwin would just be totally relaxed and he'd probably go and pick it up and just relocate it somewhere else because his beliefs are different. And yes, his beliefs are built through evidence and experience. And so he believes or he thinks snake is totally fine. Go and pick it up, move it away. Doesn't have any experience of fear, anxiety, worry in his body. Whereas I believe or think snake's dangerous. If that snake bites me, it's going to hurt and I might get poisoned. And so I am stressed and anxious and afraid of the snake, right? And I'm probably not going to go and pick it up because I've never done that before. And I don't know how it's going to, respond. And I don't know how I'm going to respond because I have no evidence that I can do that. So with anxiety, right, if you've had a lifetime of believing and actually experiencing these kind of fearful thoughts and these fearful events and these fearful situations, you're having these emotional triggers which are creating anxiety, things are happening and you're not feeling safe, you're feeling worried, you're feeling concerned about your own welfare, your own well-being, and you've had a lifetime of that experience, then what do you think's going to happen? So you really believe, like, I am an anxious person, or I get anxious very easily. And then what happens? You just keep having these anxious experiences over and over again. Your mind keeps sending these thoughts and these chemicals and these hormones to your body, which creates this feeling of anxiety. And then actually what happens is the body starts to feel anxious and you start to maybe feel contracted. You have a tight chest, you kind of close down. And then so the body then sends a signal back to the brain, which said, I am anxious. And then your brain goes, I am anxious, I'm feeling anxious. And then it's like this loop of anxiety, right? And so you start to develop a belief, which is, I have anxiety. There's something wrong with me, right? And when you change that belief, that is when you really start to change your life. And this is exactly what happened for me, because I started to experience anxiety when I was younger, and I started to develop this fear of my own mind and my own thoughts and my body. I developed a fear of myself, right? And I started to wonder, do I have anxiety? But then I started to look into belief change, and I started to change my beliefs and really my identity. And I said, I don't have anxiety. I'm experiencing anxiety. It's just an experience that I'm having. I changed my belief to say, I don't have anxiety. I'm just experiencing anxiety. It's just an experience that I'm having. And it became a lot easier for me to let it go. And now, everything that I've just explained to you is actually backed up by neuroplasticity. Right? So neuroplasticity is basically this concept that your brain, and it's not just a concept, it's scientifically proven, that your brain can actually rewire itself and adapt to different situations and environments, right? So you can create new neural pathways in your brain through neuroplasticity. So even if you have had a lifetime of experience where you were anxious and you had anxiety, you've experienced a lot of anxiety and you felt very unsafe and you felt very worried and you've had a lot of negative thoughts, right? And you've actually created this neural pathway and this belief which says, I have anxiety, right? You can actually change it through neuroplasticity, and you can build a new neural pathway in your brain by changing your beliefs and changing your thoughts. And it's like, imagine walking through a forest, right? Most times when you go for a walk in nature or to a forest, there's a path that you follow, right? And that path has been walked, hundreds and thousands of times before. So it's a well-trodden path, right? And so the normal thing would just be to go down that path. That would be the path of least resistance. You're not going to go bush bashing, right? You're just going to follow the path that's there, because it's the path of least resistance. It's the easiest path. It's already there. And so this is kind of like what happens with your brain, right? If you are thinking dominant negative thoughts or dominant anxious thoughts over and over again, you're just going to continue to go down that path because it's the path of least resistance, and you've got a neural pathway in your brain which just says, this is the easiest way to go. I've just done this so many times. And so people talk about recurring thoughts, overthinking, dominant thoughts, right? It's just because you've got this pathway that's built in your brain. But just like you go for a walk in the forest, if you want to, you can't create a new path, right? And at the start, maybe it means you have to stomp on, your way through, apply a little bit of effort, right? Maybe you have to actually go and clear the path, right? But you can create a new path. And if you walk that new path enough times, it becomes, right, a very clear option for you. You can just go the other path if you want to. And this is what happens when you change your beliefs. You really get to walk a different path. Now, what I'm going to share with you is actually a framework for changing your beliefs. I'm going to share with you one of the frameworks that I use in my coaching program to help people reprogram their mind. And so if you want to learn more about how do I actually help people reprogram their mind, there's a free training in the description of this video. You can go there underneath this video and you can click that link. It takes you to my website. There's a free training where I deep dive into, how do we recover from anxiety by reprogramming our mind, regulating our nervous system, and mastering our energy, right, and our emotions, because those three things are very important. But in this video, I'm going to walk you through the framework so that you can actually see how it all works. If you're interested in learning more, you can go to that the link in the description. You can go to my website and you can have a look at that one yourself. But let's actually just dive into this belief changing framework, right? Belief changing. One thing, if you watch my videos regularly, you probably see me writing like this. It's kind of annoying how my shadow is there. I'm still trying to figure out how to get the lighting good. So if you watch my videos, thank you for watching my videos. And one day I'll figure out how to not have this shadow. Anyway, belief changing framework, right? So we're going to talk about how to actually change your beliefs. Now, here's what you have to understand, right? It's that you have thoughts, right? You have thoughts. Your thoughts create feelings. Just like I was saying before, right? You have a negative thought, or a stressed out, fearful, worried thought, it sends signals to your body which stimulate that feeling of like fear, right? And your chemicals and your hormones literally change. So you're experiencing more cortisol in your body, more adrenaline in your body. You start to get tense. Your heart starts to race. You get these different feelings happening. Thoughts create feelings, right? From there, a thought plus a feeling, right, equals a belief. So if you have a thought that's backed by a strong feeling, you start to believe it. So if you think, I am anxious, and you really strongly feel anxious, you will start to believe that you're anxious, right? Or you're nervous, or maybe there's something wrong with you, okay? But if you, it works in another way as well. Let's say you have a thought that you really love a person, and you think, I love this person. This person is amazing. And you feel strongly about that person. You actually feel it in love with them. You're actually feeling the serotonin and the oxytocin running through your body when you're with that person. You feel it. You feel in love. Your heart feels open. And you develop belief, I love this person, right? And so it can work in both ways. You can go down this negative route, or you can actually take it into a positive route. If you start thinking, I'm calm, I'm relaxed, and you have a feeling that supports that, you also actually feel calm and you actually feel relaxed, your belief will become, I'm a calm and relaxed person. So the problem with people with anxiety is, especially when they're trying to overcome their anxiety, is they try to change their thoughts. They try to tell themselves, "Oh, I'm calm and I'm at peace and I'm confident and I'm happy." But there's a feeling that's telling them otherwise. Their mind and body are not in alignment. So this is like they're trying to have a positive thought, but then there's a negative feeling. And so they don't, there's a mismatch, so that they can't believe it. The belief doesn't happen because their internal system is just telling them that this is not true. It's not, I don't believe this because my mind's trying to tell me this, but my body's not agreeing, so I can't believe it. But when you can get your mind and your body both in alignment, that is when the belief actually works, right? And again, you can have, positive beliefs or negative beliefs, right? Cool. So what we want to do is we actually want to work on these things here, your thoughts and your feelings, right? Your mind and your emotions, your thoughts and your feelings, right? Your brain and your body, okay? We want to get this mind-body connection in alignment, okay? Now, here's the part where it really gets interesting because, and this is a little bit of a deeper, more advanced concept, so stick with me here, right? We also have awareness, okay? So your awareness, your thoughts come out of your awareness, right? This might be a new concept for you, maybe you've heard it before, but you are not your thoughts, right? So even though your thoughts create your feelings, create your experience, you're actually not even your thoughts in the first place. You have thoughts. So just like I was telling you before with my story, I had the experience of anxiety, and my thoughts started to tell me I was anxious, but I decided to not believe those thoughts. And I just started to change my thoughts. And I said, I'm just experiencing anxiety. How can I change my thoughts? Well, I have to become aware of them, right? I have to become aware of my thoughts first. So if to change your thoughts and to change your feelings, you first need to become aware of them, right? And with awareness is like this beautiful thing, right? Where there's there's 8 billion people in the world. Everybody has awareness, but 8 billion people are having 8 billion different experiences. So, but it's all coming from this fundamental point of awareness, which we all have. I have awareness, you have awareness. Sometimes we don't use it. Sometimes we're not present. Sometimes we're just kind of on autopilot going through life. And sometimes we get the anxiety and it's just happening. And we're like, how is this happening to me? And we're not really present. We're just stuck in this kind of autopilot. It's almost like our subconscious mind is just running the show and we're just on default programming. But when we do connect back to our awareness, we realize that this can actually go in all these different directions, right? 8 billion to infinity. There's so many different possibilities of different thoughts that you could have. You could think, 5 different things in the next 10 seconds if you wanted to. You go, okay, cool. This guy's talking shit. This really makes sense. I don't believe what he's saying. I do believe what he's saying. I'm not sure what he's saying. I need to understand more. I don't quite get it. I'm really getting it. I'm resonating with this. I'm not resonating with this. Like, there's just so many different thoughts that you could think, right? And they all come from out of your awareness. So the reason why I like to talk about this awareness is because, firstly, I'm a meditation teacher, right? That's what this thing is just here. I'm a meditation teacher. And when it comes to changing your mind, right, and changing your beliefs, one of the first things that you've got to do is you've actually just got to get rid of the beliefs that aren't working, right? You've actually just got to clear your mind and create what I call a blank canvas in your mind. And when you create this blank canvas in your mind, it's like this big white space of nothing, right? Which is actually awareness. And from there, once you've created that clarity in your mind, the clearness in your mind, then you can choose, right? And you can choose what thoughts you want to have, right? It becomes easier for you to choose, right? And so when you get this down, you can actually start to choose what thoughts you want to have, right? And when you can start to choose what thoughts you want to have, you can actually start to have an effect on what feelings you feel as well, right? When you connect back to this place as well, the natural feeling state is just peace and calm. When you're totally present, maybe you felt this, when you're really present, or like when you're looking at a fire, or you're looking at the ocean, or when you're just staring at a rainforest, and you're really present, it's just very peaceful, it's very calm. That's what happens when you're in awareness, right? You're just very peaceful, very calm. But then you can add a thought, right? And you're in this calm, relaxed feeling state, right? And over time, you do that enough times, you end up developing a belief, right? And so when you really master that, your beliefs create your reality, right? So the first thing you might want to do is overcome your anxiety and just stop believing that you're anxious, right? And start believing that this is just an experience that you're having. It's not who you are. That identification and belief of anxiety is really a killer, right? You start believing, oh, this is who I am, this is what I've got, right? People tell me all sorts of stuff. I've got, I've got ADHD, I've got ADD, I've got anxiety, I've got depression, I've been diagnosed with this, I've been diagnosed with that. I've got all these phobias. I've got agoraphobia. I've got all these different, I've got a fear of judgment. I've got social anxiety. I've got health anxiety. I think I'm going to die. You start believing all of these things. You start to identify with it. It becomes a part of your whole world. When you change your belief, you change your whole world. You stop believing that you have all of these things, and you start believing this is just an experience that I'm experiencing. And just like all experiences, it will pass. And I can actually start to direct the experiences that I want to have. I can start to change my beliefs. I can overcome my anxiety. And ultimately, I can create exactly the kind of life that I want to create for myself. Now, this is what I have done. This is why I'm so passionate about making these videos for you. This is why I run my coaching business to mentor other people. I've helped hundreds of people overcome their anxiety by changing their beliefs, and really finding freedom in life, finding a renewed sense of peace and happiness and clarity, right? That's really the best thing that I feel I can give to the world. And that's why I make these videos, and that's why I'm so passionate about this. So if you found this helpful and you want to learn more, go to the description and the link below, and go to my website and watch the anxiety recovery training. It explains this method in more detail. It also shares some stories about people that I've helped and the ways that I've helped them. And if you want to overcome your anxiety and change your life by changing your mind and changing your beliefs, go watch that video. And if you want some more help, you can actually book a call with me below that video. We can have a chat to see if I can help. Right, so that's it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you soon.